Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Sassy's here too. Now, Sassy's partially groomed. I just want to state that we have to finish the blade needed oiling, and we couldn't find the oil, and so now we found the oil. It's always one thing or another.
It is, or something's here and nothing's there, or everything's there and something's here. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So, one of the things that the guides told us that we'll have out here is that we will see a lot of orbs at night out here, and maybe even some UFOs. And, I'm sure we are going to get a lot of interesting footage out here. As, the house definitely has its prior residents still visit the house. There is an old lady and an old gentleman that still do come to the house, and there are other very interesting beings around our area as well.
There are, and this is just the start too. So I'm really hoping that I can replicate what I used to do in Nevada, and I would go out into a yard that had a lot of trees, and I would sit there for, I don't know, probably 20 minutes doing mantras and just kind of in a state of prayer. And then I would take out my digital camera and take pictures, and oh my gosh, I got so many orbs. But I did it enough to know that it takes about 20 minutes. So hopefully if the camera still works and we can get them uploaded, wouldn't that be fun? Just a bunch of orbs. We could have a whole show on orbs.
Oh yeah, we could do a lot of different things, and we will. And it's just a different environment when you're way out in the country. It's just it's more peaceful. Obviously, there's more nature spirits. There's more entities that you just don't find in the middle of a city because they can't tolerate the frequency, and they love nature because they are all about Mother Earth, and we've lost that connection. Unfortunately, a large part of humanity has lost that connection. So I will share with you one of the things that Cindy picked up on that was super cool, and actually she was channeling this one entity that came here a long time ago, a real long time ago. And in fact, they were the entity was pointing to the time of the mound builders, so the Mississippian culture, and these structures that we see in different places. We see them all on the Mississippi, and up into Ohio. There's some famous ones like Serpent Mound up in Ohio. Throughout much of the United States, we find these mysterious mounds that were built by mysterious people. And so the entity said that they came here with their parents when that culture was here. And the interesting part is that they came here from a different planet. So yeah, they were extraterrestrial in origin, humanoid, not Homo sapiens, but humanoid. And this was when Earth was kind of an open and free exploration zone. I think they said open exploratory zone is how they worded it. I like it when you capture the information, because I don't remember that stuff. Well, yeah, when she's fully under, she doesn't really remember anything. And when she's partially under, she may remember some. So, this is an entity that is a small female, and she likes some of our statues. And so we've given her the name, and she seems to like it, of Dolly. And, again, she is from elsewhere. Cindy was picking up that she is most likely Lyran from Lyra, and her skin was very reddish, and her hair was dark, black, Her eyes could go back and forth between blue and black. And this was at a time when, again, we've said many times when we refer to Atlantis that it was a culture in which extraterrestrials came and went all the time. All the time. It was, again, not just a global society, but it was an intergalactic society as well. And that's what is really, really missing from our understanding. And it's a dark power structure that has taken all that history away from us. They've tried to, totally erase it. But that is the reality, and that is what we are heading back to. We will be heading back to an open society as time goes on. And as this power structure declines, we will have a lot more freedoms for those that stay outside of the cell cities. And you will be able to clearly see at some point in time, again, like we used to in the past, non-human beings coming and going, all day long.
And I kind of feel that's how things should be. We should be more incorporated into the world of perception. It shouldn't be such a secret that when you see things in your mind, you're seeing the light of those things or entities or beings or whatever it is that is passing through your perception. I just wish that it wasn't such a secret. But out here should make it a lot easier to connect with these beings a little bit more. I have a good feeling about it. I'm already pretty open. I mean, my crown chakra, I'm already dizzy. So, and
There's lots coming through.
there is a lot coming through just right now. And when I cannot get it all at once, I simply get dizzy. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's okay. I got a dizzy wife.
Yeah,
what can I say?
Yes.
She's very, very gifted, and I would never trade her for anything. As it's such a blessing, truly, to be with somebody that you're never at a loss for discussion. Never, never. We're never just sort of sitting there and like, oh wow, we got nothing to talk about. No, never. We are always talking about things and discovering things, and that is such a blessing. But what's going to happen in the times to come too is people are going to be coming together with more and more like-minded people, pulling together, resonating together, anchoring the light together, and having all sorts of fun interaction and interconnectivity and exploration. And that won't be one in which we're doing this all alone. No, we're going to be having all sorts of interesting, truly magical encounters with many, many different beings. And so, this little girl being is here. She likes to be here. She's been here forever. Again, you don't have to just immediately come back and do this over again. As far as like when we lose a body, our natural state is not embodied in the 3D. This, and somebody had made the statement that this is a nightmarish, hellish existence being in a body, but no, it's actually a blessing. This is a very, very temporary, it's over in the blink of an eye as far as eternity is concerned, experience. And it's one in which we get the opportunity to really grow. And that's the part we can't see. When we are coming into the body and we are going to go through this experience, then absolutely part of what's necessary is a forgetting in order to have a full experience. And when we get out of the body, now if we are in one of the higher vibe ages, it's a much more easy and beautiful transition. And it's written in both the Greek and also in the Vedic texts that in the Golden Age, when people pass on, they just simply kind of decide that it's time, and they lie down and they just leave their body. It's just that simple. It's not traumatic. It's not terrifying. It's, done with loved ones around you. And we'll give Sita a little privacy there.
Busy.
It's done with loved ones around you, and you just simply let go of the body. Now, there are those that have dedicated religious practices. That was interesting. There has to be something walking out there. That was curious. Sounded like one of the dogs, but it was not one of the dogs, and I don't see any kitty cats or anything. But yeah, maybe it was a visitor. Could be. Gosh, where was I, guys? Oh, yeah, like with, say some of the Buddhist monks. They just simply go into a meditative state, and yogis as well. They go into a meditative state, and then they just leave the body in transition naturally. And, again, in those ages, like the Golden Age for sure, and much of the Silver, the entire existence here on Earth is one that's very, very peaceful, very, very pleasant. Not that things can't go wrong, and not that there are, not any beings that may sometimes go contrary to all the other beings, as you see the kids having fun there. Yeah, it's just as we go down in density, that becomes more and more of the norm. And, that's part of what we experience now. Right now, we are heading into the peak of the peak. And the most challenging times you can imagine are really just right now, heading into those. They're right in front of us. But if you stand strong and cultivate that spiritual practice on a daily basis, you will find that your perception is going to be increasing. You're never alone. There's always beings around us all the time. Truly, there's nothing to worry about, as the embodied experience is a temporary one, and it's a learning vehicle. It's how the soul grows. That's why we are here. This is school. Yes, it could be challenging, but it is school. And as Rama will tell you, this is also a playground. We are to play and enjoy things. If you've ever noticed, I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you can remember your dreams and keep a dream journal right by your bed, anytime you immediately wake up, write down your dreams. This will help you to remember them, because everybody dreams. If you can remember your dreams and go back and notice things of a sensual nature, like if you ever envision yourself cooking in a dream, or maybe you're going to have a luscious piece of cheesecake with whipped cream and strawberries on top. Do you remember really tasting it? See, what we do is we have recollections of what we experience in the 3D, and then we create kind of a mental illusion of them when we are not in the body. And so, it can be fun, it can be adventurous, but in that sense, it's a little bit lacking when we're outside of the body as opposed to inside. So being in the body does have its advantages, namely cheesecake is definitely one of them.
I know, we were talking about something and cheesecake was brought up. If I just could have one last meal, it was involving cheesecake.
Yeah, she knew cheesecake would be the dessert.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I like cheesecake a lot.
So yes, wanted to share that about you. So about our area and what we've encountered so far. One of the other things that we have by us that I'm not sure if we mentioned it or not is this being that was intended to be a gray. And this being was created in a lab, basically, from cow DNA. When you see cow mutilations, this is one of the main purposes of cow mutilations, is to create grays. Grays to basically do the work of the dark side. This being, though, has escaped, and it has self-realized. And that's not necessarily normal to the extent that this is self-realized. It's something, again, that they create these servitors to, just basically be as intelligent as needed. And really, that's kind of how, unfortunately, they look at humanity too. And, part of the reason why everything in our environment's all about dulling us in so many ways. Well, this creature is trying to realize itself even more and trying to understand its situation.
Yeah, which is curious in and of itself. I haven't ran into anything like that before. So it was quite depressed, It was unusual that I could pick up on something that is just now becoming self-realized because, I didn't really understand that's how the abilities work. But if it's a single entity, you can absolutely hone in on their emotions, what they are experiencing. And this thing is, what's very sad right now. I think it's going to go through a lot of phases, but this is another entity that, we'll be talking about regularly because, well, it's here.
And there is what we would call a Bigfoot Sasquatch, not too far away, not right on top of us, but not too far away as we could sense its presence. So, interesting stuff in the areas, but there's ley lines in the area as well. And that might be one of the reasons why this magnolia tree is ginormous that we're under. Beautiful and enormous. One of the things that's interesting too is consciousness, and how that consciousness came about. When you realize too that we are made up of millions and millions of cells, and yet there's 10 times more things living in us than there are cells in the body, but each cell is an individual unit of consciousness. So you could look at each cell in your body as a distinct being. And this has something to do with how consciousness arises. And it is also as above, so below, as within, so without. And when we recognize that we are all cells in the body of Earth and start to live in a symbiotic relationship with Earth, then we will blossom. And in fact, our lifespans will just be unbelievable. And that's part of how it is in a golden age and in the silver age too. It's that knowing and understanding of the oneness of all things, because again, the earth itself is but a cell, and then our entire universe is but a cell. This is the nature of things as we are in this fractal experience in which the totality is encoded in the individual. You could just leave it at that.
Yes, indeed it is. And we're here to help figure it all out with you.
Yes. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this quick little chat. We'll be doing a lot more of them. And may you all experience peace and bliss and freedom in your life. Namaste.
Namaste.